What's up, comrades? Nightwolf here, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our very first Summer of Anime for July 2017. This little segment on the channel will be just solely dedicated for me just talking about and being nerdy and geeky about some of my favorite animes, past, present. Maybe we'll talk about animes that are coming in the future. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But here is basically our inaugural episode of this. So, some of you may be asking, well, what are we going to talk about, Wolf? Well, I was considering talking about Gundam, but we've done a lot of talking about Gundam in the past. I wanted to kind of move away from that just for this one time. We might do a Gundam-related episode next week or sometime in the future. I don't know. But for this week, I wanted to talk about the Fate series, because this is one of my favorite series that came out in recent years, particularly Fate Zero. But what I wanted to start off with is I wanted to kind of give a history and a background to when I first got interested in the series or when I first found it. So, here we go. Here's the story. Back when we had another comic book shop in our area, before the current one that we have now, they had a lovely selection of rental stuff. They had a bunch of stuff. They had superhero stuff, they had science fiction, they had horror, and a bunch of anime. Old, new, they had a bunch of really cool anime. And me and my brother would go over there to see if we could find animes that were interesting to us. And one time when we were there, when we were renting out some other animes, I was looking through the shelves and I came across a little box that said Fate Stay Night. I was like, okay, that's an odd name. I wonder what that means. So I grabbed it and looked on the back and read what it was. And I don't remember the exact wording, but it was about magic and masters and legendary heroes from ancient times. And I was like, legendary heroes of ancient time, and it mentions things like King Arthur, Hercules, and other assorted characters. And I was like, huh, that sounds kind of interesting. That sounds kind of fun. I should check that out. Now, mind you, this is before I found out that this series was based on a visual novel game, or as most people would be more commonly know what it is, known as a hentai game. But I didn't know that at the time. I just knew it as Fate Stay Night, the anime. And the anime itself that I watched was pretty cool. It was only the first volume. They didn't have the rest of the series, sadly, so I didn't get to watch all of it. I only got to watch little bits and pieces of it. But what I did see of the first, I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, got me really intrigued. But I never had an opportunity to watch the rest. So, for several years, I think probably around, I think it was around maybe 2012 or 2010. I can't remember the exact year when I saw the original Fate Stay Night. So, for several years, I didn't think much of it. Fast forward to when Fate Zero comes out, and I find out about it, and I'm like, okay, what is this? This sounds familiar. Have I heard of this before? And then I watched some reviews and whatnot on YouTube, and people were saying that this is a prequel to Fate Stay Night. I was like, oh wait, I remembered watching Fate Stay Night. I watched a little bit of it. I didn't get to see all of it, but I did get to watch some of it. So I was like, let's give it a try. Let's give Fate Zero a try. And so I went to Crunchyroll, got on the app, and I watched the first episode, which was an hour long or so, and boy howdy, there was a crap ton of exposition. Oh my god, the exposition dump was like so massive and so long and drawn out. Actually, the first few episodes of the show are long and drawn out with exposition and establishing characters, which I appreciate, but it took so long to do. It like drove me crazy. I was like, I'm waiting for the part where they start fighting. But for the longest time, I really thought, or when I first watched it, I was like, I can't sit through this. Because, one, I don't mind watching subtitles, but the problem is it deters me and distracts me from like the animation or the actual stuff going on screen because I have to focus my time in reading. And I'm also not very fast at reading everything right away, and sometimes I miss stuff, so I have to rewind and go back. And I was just like, I don't have time for this. I don't want to watch this in this format. And I'm like, well, I might come back to it later. And for a while, I just kind of forgot about it, moved on. I did other things. I watched other stuff. And then I found out it was on Netflix, and it had an English dub. I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to watch it with the English dub, with nothing holding me back from enjoying the animation quality, which, by the way, for Fate Zero is very lovely. But one of the first things that I did was I binge watched the entire show. And I loved it all the way through. I really did. I really thought it was awesome. I loved the characters. I liked the intricacies of the betrayals and the strategy of how everybody fights and how they plan to win the Grail War. All of it was really fantastic. I ran into one of my favorite anime characters of any current show I've ever watched, basically, with Lancer, or I believe his name is Dermot. Yeah, I loved him as a character. I thought he was really fun and really cool. That's kind of probably why you guys noticed that I really like Lancers. Oh, actually, I've liked Lancers for a long time, but I like Knights in general, so that's why it's in the name. But I loved these Lancer style characters. The Lancer character, Ryder was a fantastic joy to watch. Gilgamesh was a douche. Saber was really cool. Pretty much everybody was pretty cool. Except for Assassin. Assassin was kind of dull. Of course, they never really gave Assassin very much character development in the first place. But that's okay. There's always the opportunity to see that later on in other series. We'll get to that in just a minute. So after Fate Zero was out, I had a bunch of fun with it. I enjoyed it a lot. I really wanted more Fate stuff. And then I think about a year or so after Fate Zero was announced, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works was announced. And everyone was like, oh my goodness, the original series is getting a reboot, basically, or reanimated and redone with better quality. And Unlimited Blade Works was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, not as much as Fate Zero because, well, the characters just weren't as good. And there was some times when it was like, oh, this is the very fan servicey, and they're focusing a lot on the more weird aspect of their original roots. I wasn't very interested in that. It wasn't like terrible, but at the same time, it was not what I was looking for. But I still enjoyed it. I still liked Unlimited Blade Works. Emiya is probably like one of my least favorite parts of that series. Aside from something else I'm not going to mention, I recommend going to watch the show if you've never seen it before. Because I know some of you guys are comic book readers, and I know some of you may not watch anime very much. So we'll just leave it at that. But Unlimited Blade Works was pretty darn good. I liked a lot of as per usual, the fight scenes in most of the Fate series, especially with the two most current, Zero and Unlimited Blade Works, are fantastic and beautifully done. And what's really surprising to me is I recently started to goof around with the mobile game Fate Grand Order and found out, oh yeah, there's more Fate shows coming. There's a few things coming out, but I can't remember all their names. I actually watched an OVA, I believe it was yesterday, called Fate Prototype, where it's the actual original vision for the series, which I thought was pretty cool. I got to see the original variation on King Arthur or Saber, and I was like, oh, so they were planning on focusing more on the history or the actual history of certain characters. That's pretty darn spiffy and neat. I like that a lot, and I actually thought Arthur was pretty cool. I hope that Prototype actually has an opportunity to become an actual series. That would be really fun to watch. I know there's another Fate series that's coming out soon, but I can't remember its name right now. When it comes out, I'm sure I'll watch it. But overall, I love the Fate series. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a pretty good show. It's obviously not the best, and it has its roots and it has its problems, but I really enjoyed what I have gotten to see of it so far. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Summer of Anime on the channel. Please let me know. Have you seen the Fate series? Do you want to see it? Let me know down in the comments. I will leave a link for the Fate prototype video because it's on YouTube for some reason. If you want to go see those series, as far as I know, it is definitely on Crunchyroll. So you can go and watch Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, and Fate Zero, and another Fate magical girl show that I have no interest in. But those are there, as well as a Fate Grand Order OVA. You can go and check them out there. They might also, Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works might still be on Netflix. I'm not sure. I'll double check before this video is published, and then there'll be a little note on the screen to tell you whether it is or not. Hey, look, there it is. Oh, ooh, fancy graphics. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed this, do not forget to leave me a like, shoot me a comment, and you can subscribe for more videos. Tell me if you like the concept of the Summer of Anime. I hope that it goes well. Don't worry. Other related videos like comic book stuff, that's not going anywhere. You guys know I love my comic books. I'm going to talk about that stuff too. But until then, do not forget to raise your nerd flags high, and I'll see you next time. Nightwolf's out.